That's just brutal.
Good. That is good. That is good.
Well, good evening to you, Dennis.
Hello.
It's yet another happy hour together.
Well, it's the happiest hour of my day, almost.
Almost. You had another happier hour earlier?
Yes, I spent it with my granddaughter.
Well,
so that's perfection.
That is lovely. I'm looking forward to having a granddaughter that is, it's like another person's kid is fun until you want to give it back, and then okay.
Yeah, I don't ever want to give her back.
Wow.
I just keep her.
Well,
I'll be taking them to court about this. It's a child's best interest.
I demand custody of this child because I love it more than you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord.
Well, but, I'm happy that you have happier hours than this because...
Yes. Well, because after all, this isn't all that great.
This can get pretty low.
We might end up renaming it kind of happy hour or happy sort of, sometimes hour or more or less.
Mundane 3/4 of an hour.
Right. Or you might get a chuckle out of this. Rename it to something like that. And when the answer is no, that's it.
Well, that's why we said might.
That's why what?
That's why we said that you might get a chuckle out of this. It's not a guaranteed chuckle.
That's right.
This is a possible chuckle, probable chuckle. But we're not going to guarantee.
Don't overpromise.
There's no chuckle guarantee.
Could be a chuckle here. We can't tell.
We don't stand by a chuckle guarantee.
We're too close to it. That's the title.
Yes.
Maybe a chuckle in here somewhere. We don't know. We're too close to it. That's catchy.
That's
just... Look at the acronym. What does it spell? Calypso.
Whoa, man.
Whoa, man.
So I had a question for you, a little bit of follow-up. On last episode, you mentioned that you had a little bit of a fender bender that you had not yet told your wife about.
I still haven't. Since she never listens to this program, she may never know.
Why?
So I looked at it. In fact, it's funny you should say this. It's quite funny because just moments ago as I parked it, as I have been doing, I got out and I looked at the part of the back right bumper that's got a crack in it. Mm-hmm. And as I do whenever I see it, there's a little tab that comes out that keeps the bumper closer to the metal, the rubber closer to the metal. So I put it back in. And I do that, and so far she hasn't noticed it. But I figure it's one of those things that I've got to find the right time or get caught.
Or 3 years from now, when she says, "Have you noticed this thing?" Then at that point you can just say,
"Well, she might back into something herself and say, 'Oh shit.'"
Amen.
Right, and
there
then
you go.
Not tell me about
it. Exactly. There you go. It's the mutual marriage of dishonesty. Yes.
Oh, well. Let's not go overboard here. I mean, it's just a fender.
Well, what is it's a lie of omission.
Oh, mercy. So winter is here, so you know the story of the wreck, correct? I mean,
yes.
Man, I'll be bursting in tears. So I did the right thing, and I don't give a shit about the bumper. I mean, the cars, we'll run it into the ground anyway, like we do all of our vehicles. We don't trade them in. We bury them. I end up selling them for junk. Get $200 for the metal.
Yep.
I don't know. My brother, I told you the story about the $1 million Ford, right? I have said that to you.
No.
That he inherited.
The $1 million Ford?
Yeah. He inherited my dad's truck. A Ford, a four-wheel drive, short bed, side step, red, fire engine red truck with a towing capacity. And we all loved the truck. My dad passed and he ended up with it. And so year after year, he would just keep it fixed up and keep it fixed up and keep it fixed up until the tail end, he had replaced everything in the truck except for the chassis. Mm-hmm. And so we estimated that it cost him over the course of the 25 years $1 million, and he just recently sold it for the chassis.
For $2 million.
No, I'd be surprised if it was $380. I don't know.
Wow.
I may be wrong.
Yeah, that goes to this whole. Have you heard this this philosophical idea that none of the cells in your body were there when you were 10 years younger, and what?
None of them?
Yeah, it's something along those lines. I'll look it up and put it in the show notes exactly what that time period is. But hell, we'll say 20 years. So it's this sort of question of, well, none of what is there sitting in the chair talking to me is what was there, is the same stuff that was there 20 years ago. And this whole idea of, what are you exactly? How do you define what you are? Because we know that the cells.
I am my past mass, my current mass, my future mass. Period.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's very, it's like the self is so much of, it's more of like a story of a history of memories, and it's
a narrative.
It's like a podcast. Really. It's a collection of stories about mistakes made and laughs had.
And redemptions.
Well, have we had any redemptions on this podcast yet? I don't think so.
Come forward. Step forward now.
Closer to the camera.
Feel it. Of course, if a minister were to try to put his hand on your forehead as they do to shake the devil out of you, he'd have to fight with your protruded foot. So it would sort of look like he was trying to give your foot up there a high five.
Or a pedicure.
I wonder. No, I don't know. I think it might be embarrassing for him. He might pass on you because of that.
So I had my first ever manicure. Did I tell you about this?
Oh my God!
When we were in Taiwan, and they have these super cheap little pedicure stations, where it's like $4 or something like that, or less, and so my wife was like, "Hey, let's go do that," and I'm like, "What the hell? I'm up for that," and it was unique. I had never done that. They cut my fingernails way shorter than I ever have, which was kind of awkward, but they did that thing. I don't know if you know about, pushing your cuticles in a way that's supposedly better, and then they chopped a bunch of skin off from my cuticles. It was all very new to me, and
yeah, right.
It didn't hurt.
Right, I can imagine.
But it was
weird.
It was weird. And then we gave them, $4.
Did they fast? Did they do it real fast?
It was pretty quick.
Kind of buff. It was like a scene in The Wizard of Oz when they were cleaning up the fucking Tin Man, which, by the way, you kind of look a little like him.
Cleaning up the fucking Tin Man?
They were buffing him up.
Buffing the Tin Man. Now that should be a euphemism for something.
Well, it already is to you, apparently. It's a euphemism.
Well, because the youth are talking about it.
Youth. How did you see Nancy Pelosi explain to Trump what exculpatory meant?
No.
On national TV during an interview?
No.
She said, well, if the president has any exculpatory evidence of anything to do with his innocence, he should send it to me. And she looked right at the camera, and she said, Mr. President, that means anything that you can do to make it show that you're innocent. That would be culpa.
If the president has something that is exculpatory, Mr. President, that means you have anything that shows your innocence.
It was rich.
I did not see that. I have been loosely following the impeachment proceedings.
Yeah, well, Saturday Night Live does a cold open this past Saturday because
I was wondering what they were going to do.
People weren't finding the the impeachment hearings exciting enough. So there, I mean, the number of millions, the scores of millions of people that are listening are astounding, really astounding.
To the inquiry, not to our podcast.
We're astoundingly low.
The scores of millions.
Right.
Anyway, continue.
Continue. Where was I? Remind me.
SNL.
Oh. So they turned it into a soap opera. And it's like, I can't remember the name of it. Show notes, I have it, I'm sure. But it's like impeachment of our lives, like
right.
a soap opera. And Giuliani is played once again by McKibben,
right.
who makes him look so much like the original Dracula with the long fingers, which she says she did. That when she was talking about the character of Giuliani, she actually started feeling herself act like a bat, right? and some type of and then she thought of Dracula with the long fingers. So she's very, very effective, and it's got a cast of characters, and it's a chuckler. It's not a. It didn't elicit any guffaws by any stretch, but Saturday Night Live seldom does anymore.
Sure.
To me, but it was well done.
And how many more people watch that than watch the actual
impeachment?
So
far fewer watch Saturday Night Live.
The impeachment inquiry. It must be stated.
Far fewer watch Saturday Night Live.
Well,
you'll have to do the research on that.
I'm not going to do the research on that.
Why? It's your fucking job.
That will not be in the show
I
notes.
make the things for you to do, and then you do them. That's the way this works. It's in my contract.
Oh, okay. Well,
so get on it.
Your contract is what you have to do. It's not in my contract. So.
No, but it's a if, then, or but. If you do, then I shall.
Right.
Yeah. That's the way that works.
Okay.
So, what's new?
Where are you going, Dennis?
I had to get a pillow. I didn't think you'd notice because I never lost my concentration.
Yeah.
Well,
this past weekend, my family and I went to the mall to do some shopping because our eldest kid needs some clothes. And I was curious how often you find yourself in a shopping situation just sort of holding the bags and looking at the ceiling and just bored because your wife is off doing shopping and stuff. Is that a thing that happens to you still, or?
No, not for 30 years, 20 years anyway. But
because
yes,
at some point you put your foot down and said, "Look, if you're going shopping."
No, my kids moved out.
No. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Your kids moved out.
Right. So the shopping experience with a family of several children is, of course, the exact thing you're talking about. That's why you have all the packages, because you have children that need some stuff.
Right. But in general, even just out as a couple, sometimes will your wife not spend 30 minutes looking around in a shop?
I don't go into stores with my wife, and I haven't for probably a decade.
Okay. Because it's just a different schedule. Right.
It's just a different pace and a different set of expectations. Mm-hmm. My idea of going shopping is I call, I see if they have it, I park near the door, I stroll into the place, I say, "Where is this?" They tell me, I buy it, I leave, and I'm gone.
That is the men's ideal shopping scenario for sure. You've reached peak.
The pinnacle.
Peak dude.
Peak. What's that?
You've reached peak dude.
Peak dude.
No, but there's this Instagram account. I think it's Instagram that it's called Miserable Men, and it's all pictures of men just bored out of their minds in shopping malls, just like just lounging on whatever they can find to sit on. And
relaxing chairs, right? I used to at least go to the massage chairs and not put any quarters in.
Right.
But at least it was a great place to sit.
Yes, exactly. But so
no
I
would lay down on a bench. I would lay down on a bench.
I would lay down
I would
on a
put
bench.
the bags all around me. I would use the bag. I would prop up my pillow.
Mm-hmm.
I would lay vertical in the mall on a bench.
Wait, lay vertical? Horizontal, you mean?
Oh, wow.
You don't lay
Good
vertical.
catch. Good catch.
I mean,
No, I did. No, actually, I did slept standing up.
a couple times.
Yeah, they have.
When you're on that centrifugal force
Hey.
ride.
We should
Yes.
patent this. A stand that you can lean on when you're standing up that is built perfectly so that you can fall right asleep and it'll look like you're standing up. What would we get for it? $29.95. Sell 100,000 of them.
Have
I
you
mean,
seen?
think of-
Have you seen this product that is? It's something that you attach to the back of your pants or something in such a way that if you go to sit down as if there was a chair there, it like unfolds out to be a little bench that you can sit on. Have you seen this? It's like this always with you bench. And hey, it's kind of funny, but for sure there are some people with disabilities for whom that is a lifesaver. But yeah, I like this. This
How's it work?
Leaning. We can call it the Tower of Pisa. No. Who is it?
Huh.
That is a sexy ringtone.
Wow, that was weird.
Yeah. It's never ever happened when we were recording a podcast, ever.
Nope. First time for everything.
Jeez. So
Wait a
you're
minute. Hey, hang on a minute. I gotta answer a few emails.
well.
This only take a second.
This is the great podcasting material. Dennis,
Oh.
in our next segment, Dennis responds to emails, not emails that our listeners have sent in.
Hey,
Emails
you
some
got
random.
any? I know that. I know in some of the things we've done, we have listener comment. Have we had any here?
Not a lot, and we should encourage that to happen. You can email us, as I think I say in the outro of each of the shows, which at happyhour.dotfm@gmail.com. You can email us, and at this point, we will probably answer your questions on the air. Really,
Right.
and if
Both
you
of them. Both.
if you sign up to be a Patreon at patreon.com/happyhour, then we will for sure answer your questions.
No, well, we'll name. How many episodes do we name after that level of a donor? Just one episode.
Well, so if Don Quixote gives us some money, then we'll call our next episode after his name.
Yeah,
Something.
and then
Yeah, I don't know about that, but for sure we could hook you up in a way that would just make your day, I think, as a listener. But anywho,
wow, you're really good at this. I mean, I think everybody who was listening when they heard you say that, they picked up their cell phone and they called a friend and said, "Hey, man, you got to listen to these guys. Hey, this guy Eric."
exactly.
He's like, right.
And those of you that haven't done that yet, what are you waiting for?
He's like, this
Call
guy
your-
lives in Italy.
Call your buddy. One of them lives in Italy, and the other one in Wisconsin. And
Close enough.
and they're just the most funnest guys, man.
Right. Rollicking.
Yes.
Woo.
Seen any movies since The Joker?
Oof.
No.
Oh, no, I can't go back to the theater. I'm afraid of having an anxiety attack. Yeah, so I passed the $1 billion mark. I mean, this is like this is an amazing feat by an R-rated movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our Patreon there for a second.
Did you see Ryan Reynolds' tribute? Because the movie he was in, the whatever the hell it was the all-time moneymaker. And when Joker surpassed it, he sent a message
Deadpool?
to Yes, Deadpool. So he sent a message to Joaquin Phoenix, and it said, "Way to go, motherfucker."
Yep. That sounds like
It's
Ryan.
good. Thought it was good. No, I've been dealing with the snow. You know, we put up a garage, a tent, which was
So is that going to last for the whole winter, or is it just a temporary thing until you can actually get a real covering?
Yes to both and beyond. I mean, it's good for. I wouldn't be surprised if it lasts 8 to 9 years if I wanted it to.
Wow.
It's a strong structure. The canvas is, you know, as thick as you can get. It's
which is not a tarp, as you explicitly said in the last episode.
It's a poly product, but it's close to canvas tarp and surpasses it because of its ability to withstand water. Mm-hmm. But it's remarkable with its piping and tubing and its connections and its braces and its distancing and how it's structured. And you put up 5 sets of ribs, and then you connect the ribs, and then you throw this huge plastic poly tarp-like thing
mm-hmm.
over the top, and then you secure it all. But it's very, very strong. Very, very strong. Very sturdy. My wife...
Is this a kit that you bought somewhere?
Yes, yes. It's about $469 comes to mind. Mm-hmm. So not terrible. It took 2 of us 5 hours to put it up. But we had a smaller one that I didn't secure properly, which I'll never do again, of course. And in a high wind situation, as I was traveling to a different state doing my work,
mm-hmm. It done blown over?
It started to rip out of the ground and blow upwards into the sky and, you know, billow. Mm-hmm. And my wife saw it and tried to hold it down and yelled, and her old parents came out. This is about 5 years ago, so they were only 82. Mm-hmm. And my son eventually got out there. But the word is that my wife was hanging on to the pole, and it lifted her right off the ground into the air, and it was a Wizard of Oz moment.
Well, that's dramatic.
And then it all ripped apart and tore apart. And that one was about...
And you haven't seen her since?
Well, I've got her shoes. She had these ruby slippers that were remarkable. No, so I don't make that mistake anymore. I use these tube sandbags to put around the base of the structure, because the poles have a leg on them that bend to hold on to the ground. So when you put a 50-pound sandbag on each of those 4 corners, along with using what I use is about 14, 16-inch stakes to drive in all the poles, three per pole. Mm-hmm. It ain't going anywhere. I learned from that mistake. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
So it's a... They've recently been in my little village where I live. They started erecting a also tent-like structure in a big open church square that we have, and I'm always really impressed. Not more so with the people that come and build a whole stage with lights and stuff to give a concert that night and then tear it down and it's gone the next day. Yeah. But I'm always impressed with the technology behind how we can put up temporary structures so quickly. Just rolling out these long aluminum hollow posts and attaching them to a thing that has a hinge where they can pull it up to vertical and just build this structure.
Yep.
In just a couple hours.
You just build ribs and then join them together.
Yeah.
And you're done. And then you put on your cover.
But I'm so amazed at the engineering feat that...
Well, and the cost of it, for the kit, for example. Now, you're looking at a structure here that's 20 foot long. It's 12 foot wide at its base. And it's 9 feet tall at the center.
Okay.
And because you are required in the setup to measure it both vertical and horizontal, or and crossways, so that it's not just 12 feet across. It's 21 feet from corner to corner. So everything has got to be square. And if it is square, it'll work a whole lot better than if it's not square. But the instructions are clear about what to hand tighten as a nut and what to tighten. Or by the absence of the hand tighten icon, to tighten up the nut. Because some of them you have to put on and take off several times in order to adjust. Now, once you know that, and once you've done this a couple times, I've done 5 of these.
Wow.
You can knock it out. But it's just counting everything that's there, organizing it, and then following the instructions. But when you're familiar with all of that,
so imagine a roadie that is going and setting up a stage every night, and then tearing it down, and then getting a little bit of sleep, and then riding in the truck to the next place and setting up a whole stage again. That's just got to be so second nature.
Yeah.
Which tab goes in which slot, so to speak.
Right. Which, of course, takes time to get to that point. But like any job requires repetition. It's nothing more than doing it and experiencing it that'll get you there. I mean, I worked at a shop back in the day. You can imagine this, that it was one of the oldest machine shops in my hometown and it was run by a generator that was attached to a series of huge pulleys and like conveyor belt type pulley system on the ceiling. And each of the major pulleys that was run had offset pulleys to each machine. And so my machine was run through this conveyor system. It was remarkable. And my job, I had 2 things I had to drill. And these were parts for untold objects that I was never quite clear what they were for. But one was a solid plate of metal that had been forged into a component for a table, and it had to have a huge hole drilled in the middle of it for the spec. So there's a big one of those and a small one of those. It's kind of shaped like a pork chop, but it was obviously a part for a machine. And one drill took 4 minutes to go through, and one drill took 2 minutes. Because back in the day with a conveyor belt system, it wasn't like today. I mean, that should be done like in the split second today, but back then. So I could read a book and got to the point where I never really had to think about when I needed to put the book down and change the part, which ended up being, if it worked well, every 2 minutes, because one was 4, one was 2, whatever.
Yep.
And you couldn't afford to miss a pace or they'd be offset, right? So I would get...
So to this day, Dennis knows how to read a book for 2 minutes.
It took 10 seconds, right, to move the parts, let's say, 10 seconds. And so out of every 2 minutes, I only had to work 10 seconds.
Well, that's efficient. This whole getting better at your job with repetition is, it makes sense. But, we're at episode 33 now, and we still don't really know what the hell we're doing.
Well, it's clear you don't. I'm pretty clear what my job is. You?
Telling stories about back in the old days?
Well,
when I was a boy, the machines were slower.
It was back in 1959.
The machines were so slow.
I was a small boy in short pants, and I remember standing in the front yard, grabbing a hold of my dick, and the picture was taken. It was Easter Sunday, and to this day, that picture gets a lot of laughs in the family.
Alrighty, well, there's an image for everyone listening. Enjoy that. Wee Dennis in his short shorts.
Short pants.
Short pants. You know, in Britain, pants are underwear.
Really?
You have to say trousers.
Trousers. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
Yeah, they always get a laugh, as they say, when Americans are talking about I put on my pants, or
Right.
I got ketchup on my pants, or that's an American sentence if I ever heard one.
Right.
I got ketchup on my pants. And of course,
Oh, mercy.
to them that's funny.
Oh, mercy. So the Joker's issues about a sequel, are certainly in the works. There was so much footage that they could not use because it was too crazy. It was too crazy to risk a R rating. And it was worse than an R rating.
Crazy disturbing.
Not because it was disturbing.
Wow.
Have you seen it yet?
Not yet.
Oh, then I won't. No spoilers here.
Yeah, don't. I mean, you're disturbing.
Once you see it, there's a few scenes I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
But anyway, that's for another time. So I've got the tent up, and my wife, of course, was abhorred by the idea, just abhorred by the idea of putting up, a hillbilly, what she would call it, a hillbilly tent, on the side of our new property. But I had, of course, as you know, put in a driveway. And
does she spend a lot of time abhorred?
Well, no, not to my knowledge. I didn't pay a whole lot of time to it myself, frankly, because I got all this work done so I could put this up. And I need to know, for the best reason, you put up a temporary garage so that you can gauge where do you exactly want the permanent building, and how big do you want it to be, and what's your design going to look like, based on what is, of course, a standard set of expectations of 20 by 12 by 9 in terms of
that's standard
the footage. Well, they may have created that standard.
So this is if it's really under $500, that's a very, very cheap.
Oh yeah.
It's trial garage.
Well, yes.
And do you foresee? What if this doesn't seem like a good place? Maybe I'll move it over to the other side of the house.
No, I already know it's a great place, and it was well designed conceptually to begin with.
Well, that's because you're a genius with these things.
Well,
I mean,
thank God somebody recognized it and says that with no sarcasm whatsoever.
Da Vinci's not gonna put the nose on the wrong side of the face.
No,
I mean,
no.
that's what Picasso's for.
Here is the point of, I knew that I wanted it somewhere in proximity of this large bush that's there, and the question was, where exactly where this large bush, in the side of the bush, near the road, the middle of the bush, or the back of the bush, all which would be a 5-foot difference in where the garage is placed. Wow. So it's a big deal.
Bush proximity.
Yes, well, as we call it in the trade, the proximity of push.
Of bush or of push?
Push.
Push.
Push. Where are you going to push the garage in reference to the bush? So it's both a push and it's about a bush.
Okay.
You got a push, you're in the bush. In the ball, out of the ball.
Okay. Well.
Fish on, fish off.
Hey, speaking of pushing bush.
Oh dear.
Excuse me. That was not. That did not. Stop it. Did we discuss that Dick Cheney movie?
Oh, since you've seen it?
Yeah.
Because you saw it on the plane?
Yeah, I saw it on the plane. What an amazing movie that was. With what's his face that gained so much weight to be in that movie.
Oh my God! Yes.
Dick Cheney movie. Yeah, the movie was called Vice, starring Christian Bale, and Amy Adams did a fantastic job. There were so many good characters.
How'd you like W's portrayal?
Well, I love Sam Rockwell. He is. If I had to list favorite actors, he would be up there. Whenever I see that he's in a film, I'm like, okay, this is worth 2 hours of my time. And he did a pretty darn good job. It's because, a decade has passed since I really laid eyes on any video footage of the person he was portraying. It wasn't like if someone is doing an impression of someone that you know and see every day, then you're going to say, well, that doesn't look like that person at all. But having it be in the past and just memory, he certainly sparked the recognition of that.
Yeah. Well, and so Josh Brolin was starred in W.
I remember that. Yes.
And was remarkable. And I couldn't help but compare Rockwell. And so, because of the physical resemblance of Brolin, what did I say his name was? Josh.
Josh, yeah.
Josh Brolin. And he got W's quirkiness much different than Sam. And I don't want to say better, but that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
But and that was remarkable. And Cheney there was played by Richard Dreyfuss. And he gained some weight and did a remarkable job. And the tension between the two of them felt much more realistic than what we saw between Rockwell's W and Vice's and Christian Bale's his portrayal. But I've seldom seen anybody channel as well as he did.
Well, and I was also impressed with how the makeup department turned Steve Carell into Rumsfeld. At first, young Rumsfeld, I didn't know young Rumsfeld. I couldn't really compare.
I did. It was very good.
But the old Rumsfeld, it stopped being Steve Carell, which is what you want to do as an actor. But wow, that was very impressive, and I also liked the way it wasn't always a shit on Cheney piece. Like the Adam McKay, the writer and director, did a great job of pointing out, look, Cheney chose supporting his gay daughter over gaining the Oval Office, basically. Like he put family first, and that was a good thing. And then at the very, very end, where the Dick Cheney character breaks the fourth wall and talks directly to you and says, "Look, you might disapprove of the stuff that I've done, but have there been any more 9/11s? Okay, you're welcome." That was sort of pro Cheney in a way that was interesting to me. Like I like how gray the whole thing was.
Well, there was also a joyous moments in Cheney's life as he was able to work his way out of lower economic strata into better paying jobs. And when he finally got a job with a desk and an office, he was thrilled, and he really wanted to do well and to strive, and it was complex.
Yes, I like how it wasn't so two-dimensional.
It wasn't like a caricature in any way, nor now you remember the Sarah Palin movie where who was it? Julie.
Sarah Palin movie.
Yeah.
There was in SNL. It was Tina Fey that played Sarah Palin.
Oh yeah. No,
fantastic
movie.
There's a movie
in the movie. It was Julianne Moore, and Schmidt, her campaign advisor, who you see on MSNBC all the time. This guy is a Republican strategist. He is played by Woody Harrelson in the movie, and it's remarkable.
I forgot that that Julianne Moore did a.
Oh, it was.
Did a Palin.
It wasn't Tina Fey comic perfection. It was acting perfection.
Game Change is the name of the movie. 2012.
And John McCain is played by
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris, and it's fabulously cast.
I think I've seen this, But yes,
brutally honest. But anyway, we were
Rod Livingston. Wow.
talking about Vice, and it's a similar kind of vein. And the quintessential look at that level of politics is the Watergate movie.
Watergate movie.
What do you call Dustin Hoffman, Robert
Redford, All the President's Men.
All the President's Men.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a great documentary out about the making of that movie with these guys some years ago, talking about the real life people talking about the movie being made. So you sat through an interview of those two reporters in their late 70s, whatever, or early 80s maybe. So a big debate tonight.
Well, hold on. While you mentioned Nixon, I saw. Well, you sent me one of the political cartoons that you sent me the other day that I really loved was if Fox News existed in 1973, where it's Nixon saying, "It was perfect. It was the best, most historic burglary ever." And then someone else on the screen saying, "Plus, Americans really should focus on the dirt that you found on your opponents." Just so great.
Yeah, today's testimony was riveting. I've seen a lot of it because I'm working out of my dining room when the TV's in the next room with French doors that open. It's a large set, so I get to hear and while I'm working. The kitchen's pretty much open to that area too. But it's fascinating, and the spin of it is amazing. I mean, here Sandberg, who put this all together very well, said it was very clear, used the term quid pro quo, said it was clear what was expected, and he said that it all was understood, and Giuliani was the one that was pulling all the strings. There was no doubt, and everybody knew about it. And somebody says, did the president ever say exactly to you that he had to have this, or that? And he said, no, he never said those words to me. And of course they can't get Giuliani. It looks like they're Bolton's out of reach. They certainly aren't going to get Trump. There's a whole bunch of Mick Mulvaney won't his court process won't conclude in anywhere time to get this question answered. It's all delay tactics, very effective. And Trump. But at the same time, this guy he said, look, it was a quid pro quo, his words. Everybody knew about it, everybody. And in this email, you can see that I write everybody. And did anyone write you back and say, what are you talking about? And he said, of course not, because everyone knew. There wasn't a back channel. It was the channel. And Ambassador Volker was all part of that, and it was doing what the president wanted to be done. And half a dozen people being so concerned about what they saw, they either whistle blew or went to the lawyers and reported it. And the Republicans are trying to say now, but he never did it. He didn't get away with it. There was no investigation. He got the security aid, so no harm, no foul. It's like, hey, you tried to shoot that guy on Fifth Avenue, but you missed him. Right. And he's a little rattled up.
And you killed another guy, but
you
missed the guy you were shooting at.
That's conjecture.
Right.
We don't know. That's under review. But, and so there's no such thing as conspiracy to commit a bribe or conspiracy to commit a felony. There's no such thing as that. Oh, yes, there is.
In order to commit conspiracy, you have to have a sense of right and wrong, such that you know that you need to hide some actions, so because you know that they are wrong and that they, if you don't hide anything, then there's no conspiracy, and if there's no conspiracy, then there's no crime, is what the Republicans are going for. So it's like. It doesn't make sense.
Where are we headed? It makes a man.
Want a tinkle? So do you have a bell on your bottle opener?
The bottle opener is, in fact, a bell.
The bottle opener is, in fact, a bell. Okay.
The stem of the bell. Am I in darkness for you? Am I in pitch black?
Who's talking? I can't. Okay. Well, that makes it hard to open a beer
Quietly.
Which, why would anyone want to do anything quietly on a podcast? I don't know. Ding.
So I think from now on,
Yes.
based on what you're saying and how you're saying it,
Yes.
I will punctuate what you say with a tinkle of the bell from now on in all of our podcasts.
When I say anything, or when I say something particularly stupid or clever, that'll be pretty rare. Okay, well, get that as close to the mic as you can because it's inside our listeners' ears. Wait, it's further away now? Where's it going? Ah, this should be stereo. It should be going from left and right in our listeners' ears. But you need another mic, Dennis. You need another mic in your studio.
So I happened upon 4 mics standing in the back of the fairgrounds where the band was playing in the concession area. And I said, "Hello, Mike," knowing one of the mics. And he said, "Hi." And I shook the hands of the other 3 men there, and they each in turn said their name was Mike, too. And I said, "Oh, my God, this is Mike Cubed."
Oh, my God. Well, it would be
Mike.
actually...
Mike.
Were there 3 of them?
So it was, "Oh, Mike. Odd. Odd. Oh, my God.
Oh, Mike. Odd. Yes.
Oh, Mike. Odd." So anyway, yeah, Mike Cubed, and they all had stories. But I had a Dennis Cubed one night at the local blues club where there were 4 of us, all Dennis.
You understand that cubed is to the third,
4.
right?
4.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Cube. 4.
Yes.
3 is a triangle.
4 is a hypercube. Do you know what a hypercube is?
Cube. Huh?
Do you know what a hypercube is? It's a 4-dimensional cube.
That's what I'm got in my head. Yeah. Right. That.
I mean, don't we all? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what you have. Probably spider webs and fucking bones, but I'm not sure I want to get into any psychological analysis of what the
I'm
fuck
just
is
saying,
inside you.
I'm just playing 4-dimensional chess at all times to know where you're going and how to react when you get there.
Right. Yes. It's all an algorithm.
What am I going to do when Dennis is ringing the bell?
In advance. It's an algorithm.
Yes. Yeah, that not to specifically say my age, but when I was in college, Al Gore was running for president, and my computer science teacher had this joke where he said, what do you call this? And he did sort of this awkward dance, and he said, "This is an Al Gore rhythm." Yes. It's not often that you get a person in the spotlight that like if Al Gore was a good dancer or or someone with that sort of charisma, I guess you could also make another joke, but the fact that he was so wooden and
Sean
stodgy.
Spicer took a wild ride on Dance with the Stars, so we could get Al Gore. Al Gore could do an upbeat dance in the robot fashion, where I don't know if you dance the robot. I do, have for years. I love to do it
every morning.
I bet you all of your podcasting producer brethren in Brooklyn get up every morning and all do the robot dance together.
It's sort of this it's a yoga robot scenario where we
a Tai Chi. Well,
So
uh,
that's the thing. Doing the robot.
well, my friend, it's hard to believe that another hour has escaped us, but it has. And I don't know, as usual, I have no memory or recollection of anything that's been said. So if it's ever claimed, I have deniability.
Yes.
No,
I also... Did we talk about movies or something? I don't know. But if people want to give us some love, they can go to patreon.com/happy hour. And if you send us messages there, we will answer you. If you want to know about Dennis's bell or his tent garage thing,
it's
or-
fascinating. I mean,
or
I'm sure we'll just get tons of mail.
I know. So, Dennis, tell me about your tent. Why is it only 12 feet wide? Yeah, so everyone can go there. And until next time, goodbye and good night. What was the thing that Cronkite said?
He said, "Good
luck.
night, Irene."
Wait. You're not my wife, Irene. I don't know. There was some good night and good luck or some sign off.
No. Dan Rather was courage.
No.
Yes.
Well, okay, fine. But that's not the one I'm talking about.
Wow.
Good night.
You're not the only one talking here, so you don't. So we're done with that. Oh, you got to look it up.
It's Edward R. Murrow.
Oh.
Good night and good luck, which was the name
Yeah,
of a
you said Walter Cronkite. That's even a good question as well.
Concrete. Yes, it was.
Who is it? What?
You said concrete,
What?
as opposed to Cronkite. It was Edward R. Murrow.
What did Walter Cronkite say when he signed
know.
off? Well, look it up.
Well, the famous thing is good night and good luck. God damn.
Well, but you said Cronkite, so
Walter
now I want to know about him.
Cronkite.
You brought it up, bitch.
Hold on. He might never said anything. He might just be like, "See y'all later."
Good night
Well-
and good day.
Okay. Well, his final sign-off line was, "And that's the way it is,"
Yes.
which I think is just perfect.
As he tapped his papers on his desk.
Yes.
And that's the way it is.
And that be that. Okay. I will see you next week.
Okay, done.
If you've enjoyed what you just heard, you can support us by telling a friend or sharing us on social media. Monthly donations to help us pay for hosting and editing can be provided at patreon.com/happy hour. That's all one word, happy hour. All our episodes, including show notes for each episode, are available on our website, happyhour.fm. You can tweet at us at happyhour.fm, that's with a dot spelled out, happyhour.dotfm, or we can receive email at the same name, happyhourdotfm@gmail.com. It would also be great if you could give us a positive rating on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. That really helps other people find us. See you next week.